Hi, this is Dr. Schaefer on Talks with Dr. Schaefer. Let's talk about neuroinfectious disease and what a neuroinfectious disease specialist doesn't do. As a neurologist, I had the ultimate pleasure of training with Dr. Karen Roos. She edited this book and many other amazing publications. And she's written many chapters on neuroinfectious disease. That's her specialty. She's an amazing neurologist. Amazing. I'm so grateful that I got to train with her. So here are some lessons that I learned from Dr. Karen Roos on what I would never do, thanks to the advice of a neuroinfectious disease specialist. Not eating soft cheeses, unpasteurized dairy, and certain processed meats that are cured, not cooked, when you're pregnant, because if you do that, you have a risk of listeria infection. That bacteria is something that most likely mom can fight, but it can cross over the blood and the placenta, and it can cause an infection in the baby, which can either be disabling or deadly. And we don't want that. So it's really not worth taking that chance. And that's actually a risk that I actually see a lot of people taking, and they're not taking it because they don't love their babies, and they're not taking it because they aren't doing everything they can to protect them. They just don't understand the risk. And so it's important to have conversations like this. What's another thing that Dr. Roos and many other neuroinfectious disease doctors and other doctors would not do? They would not eat lettuce that has been pre-washed 3 times, because the issue is when you have a product that's been prepared for you, it's been touched by hands. It was touched by hands when it was harvested. It was touched by hands when it was transported, when it was put on the belt, when it was washed the first, second, third time. Every time there's another set of hands touching it, there's another risk for bacteria, because we all have bacteria on our hands to be transferred from their hands to the product. And so if you just take that and you say, oh, it's been washed 3 times, it's fine, I'll just eat it, you are taking a risk of potentially it being contaminated. So if you have to eat something that's been prepackaged, just make sure you wash it first. But even better is just to make sure that you buy things that have been minimally processed and wash them really well. Because even if humans haven't touched it, sometimes there are issues with runoff from nearby pastures and things, and you just want to make sure that everything's washed off there. Bacteria and also pesticides, right? Let's just wash our food really well so that we're safe. So something she would never do as a neuroinfectious doctor, remembering that time that there was that thing called mad cow disease, she would never eat ground beef that was made in a mass-produced way. If she was going to make burgers for her family, she bought meat and she ground it. She did not want to mess around with the potential of having any sort of neurological material, spinal cord, nerves, get mixed in with the meat. That was not a risk she was willing to take. And it makes sense. What are things that you've learned from specialists that they just never do? What are the things that you took, the things that you said, okay, I can see why you do that, but it doesn't work for my lifestyle and I'm willing to take that risk? Because at the end of the day, when doctors give advice, when our friends give advice, our family, our coach, our therapist, we have choices. They're not telling us how to live our lives, even if that's how they deliver it, right? They don't have the authority to do that. What they are doing is giving us information, and we get to decide if it fits or works for us. So I hope that some of this information that I'm just regifting to you, that was gifted to me during my training, is helpful, interesting, and inspires you to maybe read a little bit more about the food you're eating, the choices you're making, and how we can make sure that we are just making the best choices, the safest choices that we can. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.